They ain't know what the data. They ain't know what the data.
Hi there.
Hey, yeah, we always we don't pick good days because it's like a whole bunch of other Twitter spaces going on right now.
The election tomorrow.
Right. I think we need to start doing Twitter spaces early in the day, not at night, because people get off work at night and they are well, I'm gonna bring you in a second. Just hold tight. People get off work at night, so they do everything at night. So we need to do it during the day, and so people can listen while they're at work. Um,
Well, we don't want them soaking up the boss's money without delivering the work they're supposed to be getting paid for,
yes,
do
we
we?
do. Yes, we do.
We want to contribute to their
Yes,
delinquency.
because the bosses take advantage of the workers anyway and get on the workers' nerve. So yeah, yeah, they need a break, and it helps them to concentrate to do their work better when they have something productive to listen to. Yes. So, all right. So tomorrow is a very important day. What day is that, Judge?
Midterm elections, I do believe.
Yes, Tuesday is Election Tuesday, November the 8th, right? So it's midterms. It's reports already coming in that it may be a red wave. Tonight is, what is this? The blood moon, the blood full moon. But so this is the topic, right? I put as the title, will Black men be blamed for Democrat midterm 2022 defeat? I think that's a good question. So we're going to talk about that. I want to talk about, of course, freedom of speech and freedom of press, i.e., Kyrie Irving. I want to touch on that and just that word Semitic. But let's focus on Black men voters first. So I'm going to ask you this question, Judge. Will Black men be blamed for the Democrat midterm 2022 defeat?
Well, it seems we've been blamed for everything else. I guess we can take a little more heat, and we'll probably get the blame for that because we didn't jump in behind the likes of, let's say, Stacey Abrams or that type. And although so many in the Democratic Party have made careers talking about toxic masculinity in general and toxic black masculinity in particular, we're gentlemen. We put our women on a pedestal. We love you and all of that. And I guess we can take a little bit more heat, but I think you backed men in general and back men in particular back as far as they can get against the wall and painted them in, and they're going to leave a trail going across the fresh paint. It's unfortunate, but that's what happens when you
Mhm.
ignore us. So we'll take the heat, I guess. That'll probably be our blame. We get that a
What is
lot.
that sound in the background?
Oh, I was mixing some coffee, trying to stay awake.
It sounds like it's sandpaper.
Yeah, it was. I do this mix, and I have it in a big jar, and I shake it up to get it together. So I just
Mhm.
shook the stuff up because it had
Okay.
settled. Sorry, sorry, so sorry.
Well,
See, we get blamed for
no, I'm not
everything.
blaming you. I'm asking you what it was.
It's called getting in the mix.
All right. So Stacey Abrams, right? Because this is what Stacey Abrams is what inspired me to come out with this title, and I do want to expound on the importance of Black men voters because they are the ones that are being neglected. So I want to play this clip. This was from her MSNBC interview she did. I forgot what show this was, but and also I'm just tired of the disrespect of Black men. But let me just play this real quick.
And I do not believe it's because of a deep well of enthusiasm for my opponent. We know that Black voters are often discounted, and unfortunately, this year, Black men have been a very targeted population for misinformation. Not misinformation about what they want, but about why they want what they deserve. And my campaign has been the only one that has very intentionally, thoughtfully, and consistently reached out. That has been misconstrued as concern, when indeed it's just respect. And I do not believe it's because of a deep well of enthusiasm for my opponent. We know that Black voters are often discounted, and unfortunately, this year, Black men have been a very targeted population for misinformation. Not misinformation about what they want, but about why they want what they deserve. And my campaign has been the only one that has very intentionally, thoughtfully, and consistently reached out. That has been misconstrued as concern, when indeed it's just.
All right. So she's saying that Black men have been misled with misinformation. And she said not about what they want, but about why they want what they want. That makes no sense. So you're trying to. Go
Well,
ahead.
may I interject
Mhm.
here? Wasn't she last cycle trying to get into promoting that "take your booties to the poll" thing?
Right.
So, yeah, what is that but an insulting slap in the face of Black men to say that we are so inept, stupid, and disconnected from reality that we would look at some strippers hanging on a pole, 1/3 of which weren't even women but were impersonators, and we're supposed to use that as a motivation to go vote? Or this time, which has been, I don't know if she had a direct connection with it, what was that? No voting, no vucking?
Mm-hmm.
What is this? I mean, is this rank hypocrisy? I mean, come on now. We're not supposed to talk about ladies, but somewhere in here, somebody's going to lose it and start pushing back. This is just too much. In other words, what are we getting for our votes? Nobody is thinking about Black men or even the Black population. So why are we supposed to vote for her when she represents that which has been causing a lot of things that are not good? Come on now.
Now, the only reason why she started to acknowledge Black men voters specifically, because if you go to her Twitter and go down her timeline for even from up until last election, it's all about women, all women and Black women, right? Or LGBT or illegal immigrants. The only reason why she's just started talking about Black men in what, August? Because her people, her campaign, they did the numbers and they're saying, wait a minute, this is surprising. If you get what, 10% of Black men to vote for you, you could be governor. You know what I'm saying? So that's why she started pushing, trying to reach out to Black men. Other than that, she wouldn't have done it. And how can you talk about Black people and exclude Black men, but now you want to bring them into the fold when you know that it's the Black man vote that is going to be the deciding vote in the state of Georgia in order for you to be elected or really have some competition against Kemp. So it's very disingenuous, and they do need to start giving Black men a little bit more respect, because they're starting to see not only they're not voting for her or Democrats, but they're going to the other side, to the Republicans. You have Obama. He sat up there, and I think it was Michigan. He was somewhere campaigning for the Democrats, and he referred to Black men as Pookie and Ray Ray.
Yeah, that's just total disrespect. So, a lot of Black men are steady workers. They support their family. An interesting demographic few are aware of. Out of all the demographics in America, Black men pay their child support most regularly and on time. We are far above the next highest ranked demographic, and that's been going on for years.
Well,
I
not
know a
only
lot of,
child support, Black men are
yeah,
most likely than any other group of men to do homework with their children, read to their children, spend quality time with their children. That's actual reports that came out. So it's not just spending money on the kids, but actually spending quality time with their children. They are the
You know what? I was going someplace else, which was black men work hard at jobs to do these things. They're doctors, lawyers, they're dentists, they're businessmen, they're entrepreneurs, they're entertainers, they are hard factory workers, they are police, they are firemen, they do a lot of things. And it's just absolutely disrespectful to act like black folk only have one gender.
right.
You see, last I checked, the human race has two genders. And then where does that go? Men and women compose the people. So when you say, oh, the men don't count until they do count, I mean, I guess we're kind of used to being that lifeboat hung on the davits, on the ocean liner that nobody pays attention to until you get a Titanic situation.
Right. I have put this link to this article in the under the Twitter space. It's by CBS News. It says organization aims to register 1 million black men to vote by 2024 election. Black women are often considered a critical voting bloc, but a new initiative aims to dramatically expand the number of African American male voters ahead of the next presidential election. Black men vote Black Men Vote announced, I guess that's the name of the organization, Black Men Vote. Black Men Vote announced a new national campaign Friday to register 1 million Black men voters by November 2024. The organization says the Strengthen Numbers initiative will be its most ambitious effort, and that will partner with local community leaders and national organizations such as Rock the Vote and Microsoft. The group unveiled the initiative at a summit featuring Democratic Representative Benny Thompson and former Maryland Lieutenant Governor and Republican National Committee Chair Michael Steele during a Congressional Black Caucus annual legislative conference. So they have an agenda. It says, quote, registering 1 million black men to vote has the potential to change the electoral landscape locally and on a state level and nationally. It's time for black men to step up and take our rightful place in helping to shape the future of our nation, and the Strength in Numbers initiative, it is a critical first step.
Well, one thing, I endorse that. However, there's a caveat. We ought to make those who have tried to besmirch our honor and dignity and attempt to suppress our voting power for so long, we ought to make them pay for it dearly. And by that, I'm thinking that those people who profited by supported with a lot of effort and sweat and toil, the likes of Stacey Abrams and her ilk, they need to pay for this. They've been treating us like, okay, we can do anything we want to. They won't make us pay back. And if we give them a bone or two or some kind of symbolic something, they'll eat it up anyway. And their women are the only ones that can do anything for them because they're too stupid and toxic. That is not going to wash.
Mm-hmm. And also, one of the things, so if they're going to register 1 million black men, I'm curious, are you registering them as Democrat? The Republicans, I think they need to get on this because they think that they don't have to reach out to black people, period, but they should, particularly black men. Let me just read this one last part. It says the group is targeting black men between the ages of 18 to 35 and builds on previous outreach. In 2020, Black Men Vote ran a multiple state digital campaign emphasizing the importance of voting. They use rappers like T.I., some other activists, Theonis Floyd, who's George Floyd's brother. This sounds like more of a Democrat strategy. The Democrats are trying to now get 1 million black men to vote. And what I want to see is, I want to see the Republicans counter that.
Well, yes, and you know how they can counter it? See, the Democratic Party is already launched into another version of take your booties to the poll, no voting, no vucking. And it's appealing to nonsense emotional stuff that men typically do not respond to. And they're targeting a group of young black males who have never seen it another way. But you see, that 35 and above, that's the majority of the black registered voters right now, male, 35 and above. And we're just disenchanted with this, but we want to come out and we want somebody to pay for what they've done, the insults they have delivered, and we're going to do it. And I think somebody would be wise to concentrate on and galvanize the people that are already there who have voted in life and will vote again to come out and support you. But these clowns don't seem to have the sense to do that.
Mhm.
So the Democratic Party has just been insult after insult to black folk. I'm not saying run to the Republican Party, be independent. That's what we need to be. But the Republican Party, they are supposed to be about business. And I suppose if you're a good businessman, you could evaluate the market and the market potential and do something about it and deliver a product, which is return on your vote. See, I've already tweeted quite a bit about a vote is like buying stock. What kind of dividend return do you get from acquiring the stock? What are your long term prospects for your portfolio? What are your short term prospects? And nobody wants to talk about that these days.
Mm-hmm. I have another question. A couple more questions, then people can request to come up. And I see you, Wim. Can black men save democracy? Can black men save democracy, Judge? You muted yourself. Okay.
No, no one can save democracy. Democracy has to save itself. And the other thing is, we are not a democracy. We are a republic and we do not govern democratically. What we do is we select our elected officials with a democratic process. But once they get in, they are not supposed to engage in a democratic governance. They're supposed to do what they ought to do for the interest of their constituents. And periodically, the constituents get to assess and evaluate what their representatives have done and either retain them or replace them.
Well, let me change that then. Can black men save the republic? So I think that would be more proper.
Yes, I mean, yes, we can. We can help and we can enter the fray armed with wisdom, intelligence, information, knowledge, data, and experience in life, and we can apply it. The only problem is the Republican Party has such a bad smell to a lot of black people that they aren't getting what they're trying to deserve. And the Democratic Party is coasting on old habit and reflexes, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and conditioning that they've stopped trying. And I tell people all the time, if one party can count on a group support no matter what they do not do for that group, and the other party, no matter what they do for the group, can give up getting any support, then nobody goes anywhere for neither, because neither party has any interest or any benefit in delivering something to the black vote. So black men can turn that around by getting active again, by interjecting themselves in the process and asserting themselves.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I want to ask, I'm going to bring Wham in. He's requested. Before we go any further to the second part, I'm going to talk about freedom of speech, freedom of press. Do anybody run a request to come on and make a comment or ask a question about what we just talked about? Let me bring Wham in. Wait a minute. All right. Hi, Wham. You can unmute, William.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You cut out for a bit and I didn't hear anything. Okay. So I really want to speak to, the inspiration for the title of this space. And Stacey Abrams, she referred in that clip, she only said her opponent, referring to the incumbent, Kemp. But there is also a third-party candidate in that race named Shane Hazel, who wiped the floor with Stacey and Kemp during that debate that they had. And that's the candidate in particular, that I've endorsed for 2022 in Georgia. Third-party candidates get blamed for causing Democrats, Democrips, and Republicans losses all the time. And we got to make it clear: nobody owns anybody's votes. You cannot steal somebody's vote. You have to earn somebody's vote. And those are the remarks that I want to start out with right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Amen to that. There's something to be said for independence.
Right. All right. So, William, you can mute up. Oh, I see somebody else to request. Let me see. What is this? Add as speaker. Okay. And who is that? Taurus? Hi. Taurus, you can unmute.
Okay, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Judge Joe Brown, it's an honor to have you here. And I'm just gonna say he hit it right on the head. I particularly have voted a Democrat for most of my life. I started a business in 2015. Taxes just killed me, and I pretty much worked for free. I voted the other way. My taxes went down, my business grew, and I really didn't have anything. And in a short amount of time, I support 5 families. I could support my family. I'm a homeowner now. But of the last 2, 3 years, I'm hurting, So I just want to go in agreement with Judge Joe Brown. Um, we gotta make our money or work for ourselves. At the end of the day, when you have money and you can prosper on your own, it doesn't matter about your personal social life. You can still live how you want to live, the way you want to live. If you want to be gay or lesbian or whatever you want to be, you can be it because you can support yourself being that person. And so I kind of removed myself from the color of my skin. I'm a mixed Latino, and I just didn't want to have that chip on my shoulder on, oh, I'm tan, I'm brown, and I got to be this way. No, I'm just going to vote for what makes sense financially, and then I can choose to live my life the way that I want to live it. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Did you want to comment on that, Judge, before we move on to the Kyrie?
Well, it was well said. Thank you. That's a consideration. That's the reality. And by the way, what people do sexually is their business. Get your freak on in your bedroom and enjoy yourself. The problem some people have is just when certain things are being pushed through the schools and other places. So we have that being exploited. We have other things where we have people deliberately trying to turn everyone against everybody else just by virtue of their status, and that's not a good thing. We have something I always thought was bad, that we're trying to turn the women against the men and the men against the women, and then you get the people in there, you can't tell what they are. So it's getting real confused. And what we need to pay attention to is this: at the end of the day, what do our votes get us? Emotional satisfaction or actual concrete benefits that help? When you look at it, do they help you and yours have a better life tomorrow? That's what we need to look at.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's. Oh, did you want to say something, Taurus?
Just wanted to add on. That's exactly is what I'm saying, Judge Joe Brown, is we can't go at war with each other and expect that we're going to progress. I am sick and tired of this group, that group, this color, this gender, and this. I mean, that means nothing. I have a person that lives with me, and I'm helping out, and she's a Democrat. We get along, we live together. So this whole divisiveness has just got to end it. And I'm going to be honest with you. When my younger years, and through my mom, I believed that Democrats were for us and we were supposed to be this way. But I learned that I can't be associated to a specific party. And I go and I listen to these people speak, and I think that's what's lacking a lot, especially in the minority division. We have to go and listen to these people speak. We have to see how they vote, how they actually are putting things on paper, not by just what they say, because we shoot ourselves in the foot electing someone. Oh, they said this, they said that, but we know political jargon is a masterpiece to make you believe one thing, and once they're voted, they do the complete opposite. We were left behind in 2014, 2015, 2008. We were left behind. We weren't looked at. Our businesses suffered, our mom and pop restaurants suffered, and it's disheartening. And we've got to stick together. We've got to talk. And I just want to say one last thing, because I know I'm long-winded. We cannot go into a fray just because someone believes in something or they like this candidate. I've seen the attacks, hate attacks, and get angry. You're not going to reach out to somebody by getting angry with them. You know what? Just have a friendly discussion, a debate, and point out the things that you can prove black and white, and leave it as that, and let them think about what you just said.
Right.
Let me say this too. I played football in high school and for a while in college. And I know in high school, I really did not like our quarterback. I had an intense dislike for him and one of his brothers. But I still blocked for him, even though I disliked him, because we were on the same team and the objective was to win the game. And we have to stop basing our votes on who we like without regard for the policy. If you want to see what this is about, go pull up a picture of World War II, and you'll see, perhaps on the diplomatic front, you'll see Winston, as in Churchill, Franklin, as in FDR, Roosevelt, and Joe, as in Joe Stalin, and they're sitting there, and their systems are not compatible with each other. They don't like each other as people for the most part, but they were collaborating and cooperating to get rid of Adolf and Tojo, and they did. So we have to look at that as an exemplar of politics. It's not about who you like, it's about what happens in the end result. It's like, are you on the same team? And if you are, then vote accordingly. And be sure you're on a team, since you don't get drafted, you're not confined to that high school, a team that you can be satisfied with when it comes to their general direction. And if the team is one that you don't really want to score a touchdown because it's anti your interest, then change teams. You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Become a free agent. Be independent.
Okay, so I want to move the conversation to Kyrie. and it still ties under what I'm doing. Can you guys still hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Loud
Okay.
and clear.
Oh, okay, sorry. So we all know Kyrie Irving was suspended. I have a problem with that. He is not anti nothing. I support Kanye. I'm not Kanye. I support Kyrie, but I support Kanye West too. Um, so where I want to go with this is walking the line against freedom of speech, freedom of press, and I want to use Kyrie Irving because he just what did he do? He posted a documentary called Hebrew to Negroes. I didn't watch it, but I am going to buy it on Amazon and watch it. It's supposed to be a 3-hour documentary. Jeff Bezos is not taking it down because if you're taking it, let me just say this: Kyrie got a lot of backlash, and they're saying because he just posted the documentary. He didn't say anything. He didn't put anything in context. So they're saying he's anti-Semitic for posting this documentary, Hebrew to Negroes, and they're trying to force him to apologize. He did not apologize because it's not to apologize for, but he was like, my intent wasn't to harm anybody, or hurt anybody's feelings. It had nothing to do with that. The Nets did end up suspending him because of what he posted, and this documentary you could find on Amazon. Jeff Bezos, because people were saying, if you're not demanding, these so-called Jews, if you're not demanding for Jeff Bezos to take down this documentary, why are you condemning Kyrie Irving for just posting a documentary? He wasn't saying yay and nay. He wasn't saying this is facts. He also said he did not agree with everything in that documentary. Right? Now that documentary is the number one selling documentary on Amazon. And I'm going to end up buying it because I want to watch it. What Jeff Bezos did, he put a disclaimer, but he is allowing people to purchase it. So why is two things here. How are you going to demand Kyrie Irving to apologize for something? He was exercising his freedom of speech / freedom of press. How are you then? You did not, but even if you have the audacity to tell Jeff Bezos, well, you should take that documentary down because it's so-called anti-Semitic, well, wouldn't that go against freedom of speech / freedom of press, right? Now, because Kyrie did not apologize the way the little hats want him to apologize, they have now suspended him. And they said, in order for him to rejoin the team, he has to meet these 6 demands. One of the demands is apologize and condemn the film he promoted. Make a $500,000 donation to anti-hate causes. Complete sensitivity training. Complete anti-Semitism training. Meet with the ADL and Jewish leaders. The ADL, I forgot what that stands for. Meet with team owner Joe Tsai to demonstrate an understanding of the situation. Well, he's not going to do any of them shits. And he better not. Because those 6 things that they listed is complete bullshit. You are violating his constitutional rights. You are accusing this man of something he did not do. And I'm going to say it's racist. And you are trying to buck break this black man. I want to play, this is a 2-minute clip of him at a press conference. And I want to play it. And then I want Judge you to comment and people to request if they want to comment as well. Hold on.
Dealing with racial biases against my skin color, demeaning me because of my religious beliefs, and I'm still sitting in the seat standing. So I take my full responsibility. Again, I'll repeat it. posting something on my Instagram or Twitter that may have had some unfortunate falsehoods in it. But I also am a human being that's 30 years old, and I've been growing up in a country that's told me that I wasn't worth anything, and I came from a slave class, and I come from a people that are meant to be treated the way we get treated every day. So I'm not here to compare anyone's atrocities or tragic events that their families have dealt with generations of time. I'm just here to continue to expose things that our world continues to put in darkness. I'm a light. I'm a beacon of light. That's what I'm here to do. You guys ask me questions about basketball, I give you my expert opinion. You guys ask me about other things, I give you my opinion, and it's met with whatever you believe the perception or the deception is. You guys investigate my life every day, and you justify it by serving your own purpose, which I honor. I would like the same respect in return, figuring out just like anyone else. So please keep that same energy when we're talking about anti-other things, because just because I post a documentary doesn't mean I'm anti-Semitic, and doesn't mean that I'm automatically standing with everyone that is believing in that. So it's unfortunate timing that we're in, but I'm glad that I could stand on the truth, because I'm not afraid of these mics, these cameras. I used to be looking everyone in the eye and telling them the truth, but I'm proud of who I am. Any label that you put on me, I'm able to dismiss because I study. I know the Oxford Dictionary, you can look it up, right? Just one of the biggest mistakes I had in being a kid was not knowing European or Western language until I started looking it up and understanding the definitions and why they say, if you want to trick a black person, put it in a book. I was wondering my whole life why they said that. Now I'm 30 years old and I know reading is a superpower because it helps me understand where I'm going and where I come from, like a tree with roots.
All right, that was the end of that. So,
Okay, now let me put my say in very briefly. No one's feelings are as important as the continued existence and enforcement of what the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States is about. A lot of people have died and suffered to get that in place and keep it in place. And under the law of this country, you cannot falsely yell fire in a crowded theater or something like that that will produce a public disturbance immediately that will cause someone to be hurt, perhaps, or lead to extreme public disorder. You will be on shaky grounds if you utter what they call fighting words, which are likely to cause immediate physical combat in the ordinary person who hears them. And that's it. If you deal with defamation of character, there is a civil remedy for that. And the absolute defense to a defamation action is truth. Now, those things are what have constrained absolute free speech since this country has been here. There are things about pornography and obscenity, but those basically are just saying the form of the communication is bad rather than what's being communicated. So we don't need to go anywhere where we start making it unlawful for somebody or fiscally accountable for somebody to deal with uttering something that others don't feel makes them comfortable. Because I tell you what, in my study of American law and history and its antecedents in Britain, anytime you try to protect someone's feelings, that becomes a two-edged sword that cuts the other way in about a decade or so. And it's very dangerous. Now, without getting into whether or not what was said was good, bad, or indifferent, he has a right to say it. And as far as this concern that we played into today about everybody's feelings, well, let's just say that when I was in elementary school, junior high, and high school, one of our favorite recreations during recess or lunch or after school was talking about somebody's mama. They call it running the dozens. And we handled that, but now I hear people want to fight because somebody talked about his mom. Now, we need to get away from that because the world is a tough place. There are things out there that we have suppressed that want to eat us. There are people that want to conquer us. There are people that want to subjugate us. There are people that want to defeat us. There are real things out there that are going wrong, and we don't need to cripple this nation by crippling the First Amendment, which is the most important one, because it allows us to be peaceful and discuss alternatives freely and candidly without concern for feelings, and only for those things that survive the contest of challenge, uh, counterpoint, testing, and development. In other words, a free press and free speech are those things that enable us to have a reasonably free society. Now, I pass the mic.
Yeah. I agree, because what they're doing, even to Kanye West to a large degree, but definitely Kyrie Irving, forcing somebody to apologize. First of all, what is an apology? He said, my intent was not to, disrespect or harm anybody. But they're saying that you did not say the words we wanted you to say. How are you going to force somebody to say something for something that they didn't do? He tweeted or he posted something on his Instagram. So you mean to tell me that because he's a public figure that he can't post certain things? Who gets to say this is anti something? Who gets to say at this point, you could do this, you could say this, but you can't do this and you can't say that? That is walking the line of freedom of speech and freedom of press. And they're trying to mask it with this anti-Semitism thing. And I think it's a whole lot deeper than that, because if we allow them to dictate to a Kyrie, just imagine what they're going to try and dictate to us. So it's like, I'm looking at it like, without it being written into law, before slavery was abolished, if slavery, let's just say, was to be legal again tomorrow, who would actually be the slaves? We would all over again, because we just have no type of power. You have a lot of people, particularly Black people, who are talking against Kyrie, saying that he was wrong. But what is he wrong for? He didn't do anything. But because a small group of people who control a lot of the industries, quote unquote, saying that he was wrong, then that is true. Nike also dropped him as a, what do you call it, spokesperson or whatever. That's fine. So I'm looking at it, okay, what are Black people going to do? Are we divided against this Kyrie thing? Are we going to boycott Nike? Because we should have been boycotted Nike. We should have been boycott Adidas. We should boycott the NBA. I wouldn't go to no Nets game. So what is
I want to interject that Nike also uses slave labor.
Yes, that was going to bring that. Yes, they use slave labor. So, so it's like, why is the blame being pushed on Kyrie? It's like they're making up a false narrative. But the real problem, the real predators or villains here are the men in the suits. So, and this is another way for these liberals to suppress our freedom of speech and freedom of press. And I see somebody sent in a recommendation. And by the way, the
May I
guy.
give an update?
Yeah.
It seems the young man told everybody to go to hell and he resigned and said, I quit. You can go keep it.
Yeah, that is not official. He did not.
Well, that may not be official, but that's what I did with CBS. They wanted me to do something I thought was way wrong, and I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. And I've been here 15 years. I'm on the top of the game, #1 and #2 rated daytime syndicated show or overall syndicated show. And I've had enough of this. So I won't put up with it anymore. And you and I have been having enough battles, CBS, about this. And there's some other people trying to use it as a camouflage, a smoke screen for some wrong they've done. So bye-bye. Have a good time. I'm on
Yeah, I
retirement
would
age.
retire, but I don't know, with the contracts or whatever. But I don't think, okay, you need to stop with whatever you're doing in the background. Just mute up because it's doing a lot. I just think that
That was an appliance, excuse me.
I just think that at this point, he has his money. He's not going to be poor if he leaves the NBA. But the fact is that he does not have to apologize. He should not apologize. And not just black people, but all Americans need to be supporting Kyrie Irving and pushing back against.
Let me add something. Turn on the Smithsonian Channel, turn on the Military Channel, or turn on the History Channel if you have cable TV, and you will see candid treatment of Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. And they don't disguise what was said. They bring it out, emphasize it, and examine it closely and minutely. But one of the things that they also bring out in great detail is how suppression of the rights to free speech as they existed in the Weimar Republic of Germany before Hitler came to power were suppressed, and how that led to the horror that we are having as the center of this discussion in the first place. In other words, loss of freedom of the press and censorship resulted in the horror that nobody wants to talk about today because it makes people feel uncomfortable. But yet, even though this young man who is a basketball player can't even play on his site, the documentary, such as it is, or even really just advertise it, not even play it, when on these big networks you have things that are much more graphic and egregious in their reach than what he was doing. So it is kind of hypocritical, and you wonder if something else is going on. So I don't defend necessarily what he said or did, but I defend his right to say it.
But what, he didn't say anything.
I know that, but I'm saying, see, people get so hung up. I've learned, I've done
Like
this
you,
for
if,
half.
if you would have saw the documentary, maybe you didn't agree with it, but
Listen. That's not the point. I have dealt with this legal thing for a half century, a little more than a half century. And what I have noticed is people get too caught up in the fine details of an incident rather than the principle behind it. So I'm not even going to get into whether he did or did not say anything that was discomforting. I am more concerned with his right to say it,
right,
irrespective of what it is.
or tweet it.
That is much more important than any one person or group's discomfort at what's said. I've even supported the right of the Klan to demonstrate and speak, even though I found it detestable because it is free speech.
Right. I want to go to Samir, and then I'm gonna drop down some of the speakers because I see two other speakers requesting. Hi, Samir.
I appreciate the mic. Yeah, I mean, to me, this is not about hate, right? This is about silencing dissent, right? I mean, the guy posted a link, right? Now, if they want to argue there are some disparaging things in there, okay, that's fine. But when he was asked about it, he clarified it. And if you look at his latest apology, he said the reason why he was defensive was because they labeled him anti-Semite. I mean, without even asking his position, they just labeled him that. And and to me that there is real anti-Semitism, right? But they actually undermine real anti-Semitism when they call anyone anti-Semite. I mean, they'll call you an anti-Semite if if you question the apartheid regime in Israel, right? Like, that's not me saying it. That is the UN. That is Amnesty International has labeled the Israeli regime an apartheid state. That is a fact, and they'll call you an anti-Semite for that. And so, once again, this is not about hate. Look at, for example, look at Brett Favre. I mean, this guy stole from the poorest of the poorest people in the United States,
Yes.
right? And I don't see any sponsors calling him out. I don't see any repercussions. I mean, he's a criminal. He should be behind bars, and there's no repercussions for that, right? So, just to wrap it up, this is not about hate. This is not about anything he said. It's about silencing dissent, right? And they're trying to eliminate him socially, economically. Look what they did to Kanye, the same thing. So we got to push back, against it, especially, within our community, specifically the Black community. Like, we can't just join in on what their agenda is. We have to push back, because when anybody in their group is being attacked, they stand up for it, whether it's right or wrong. So we got to push back, and we can't participate in this public lynching, social and economic lynching. So I'll land there, but
Mhm.
yeah, we got to step up.
Right, and it's an American thing. Like, we all need to step up because this thing is getting out of hand. Um, let me bring in, what's this other person? Let me see. Ritsu. Ritsu.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I don't like Jewish people too much, but what I'm gonna say is that you can look at the fact that they've tried to cancel Kanye and Kyrie this month, and what it shows is that Jewish people and the mainstream media and the government and all of these different organizations that claim they love Black people, that claim they love BLM, whatever it is that they want to claim they love, don't actually love you guys. So what it is they love you guys when you guys are mindless slaves and you listen and you mind them and you're obedient little people to them. They want you to further their agenda, further their organizations, further whatever they're trying to do. They don't love Black people. They don't care about Black people, because in reality, it's the same people now that are claiming that Kanye and Kyrie are anti-Semitic, Kanye and Kyrie are racist. They're the same people that redlined Black people in the 70s and the 80s. They're the same people that introduced crack into the Black community. They're the same people that have ruined Black families by introducing multiple different things into the Black community, including the Civil Rights Act and the welfare system. Honestly, where they've made Black women rely on the government rather than Black men, and they've ruined Black families, and now they're importing Mexicans and Southern Americans and Arabs, and they're ruining Black neighborhoods at this moment in time as well. So they don't care about Black people. They care about themselves. They care about continuing their agenda, and they even say it all the time. Shulamit Alani, the former Israeli cabinet member and the winner of the 2000 Israel Prize, she even said that they don't believe in anti-Semitism. They use it to stifle legitimate criticism of Jewish, Americans and Zionist Israel, which is what they're doing right now to Kyrie and Kanye. It's not racist, it's not anti-Semitic to point out that Jews or whites or blacks or anybody owns an organization, or they run some kind of the media or the music industry or anything like that. But as soon as you say, hey, these people that are doing this are Jewish, you're automatically anti-Semitic, which is ridiculous.
Right. Okay, so I want to. It's one, two. Was that three people in queue who are being requested, and I want to drop down some people. But let me just say, let me read the definition of Semitic, and Judge, I want you to comment on this. What do Semitic mean? So I looked it up. It's Oxford language, definitions from Oxford Languages. Semitic, relating to or denoting a family of languages that includes Hebrew, Arabic, and Aramaic, and certain ancient languages such as Phoenician, for Phoenician, Acadian, and constituting the main subgroup of the Afro-Asiatic family.
Acadian is what you mean. Go ahead.
Acadian. Thank you. And second part of the definition, relating to the peoples who speak Semitic languages, especially Hebrew and Arabic. So, how is that? Where does Jewish people fall under? It's a lot of groups here that fall under Semitic.
Can I just add something quickly?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm ethnically Ethiopian, right? I'm Muslim, but they're Ethiopian Jews, right? And they have been around for millennia, 2 millennia. They don't even recognize them as Jews. Is that not anti-Semitic? Right? Like that in itself is anti-Semitic, right? And the way they're treated in Israel, the Ethiopian Jews is horrific. And nobody talks about that. So to your point, I mean, you just gave the definition right there. So like this notion that like even the term anti-Semitism, right? That is defined by like who is that defined by? Like even that definition, and that definition changes constantly.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So to me it's relative.
Can I submit a few sentences, and I want to also volunteer to be the first one dropped. I'm friends with Farrakhan. I love all Jews. I love all Muslims, or I guess maybe that's not true. I love Jews. I love Muslims. I don't like Israeli Zionists and Saudi Arabian jihadists. I think Zionism and jihadism are two sides of the same coin. They are beliefs that justify murder in the name of religion or race, and that is not a moral belief to hold. And those are my remarks on that matter.
Dana with the data. Dana with the data.